The White House appears to be looking for an off-ramp to its trade policies that have rattled world markets. The Wall Street Journal first report that the Trump administration is considering slashing China tariffs to de-escalate the trade war. The news temporarily sent major indexes soaring. Markets lost momentum, however, after Bloomberg News quoted Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent as saying Trump that has not offered to take down U.S. tariffs on China on a unilateral basis, a point later reiterated by White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt.
This is the art of the deal. President Trump is using the leverage of the United States to bring nations to the negotiating table. That includes China. Let me be clear. There will be no unilateral reduction in tariffs against China.
I would love for her to be clear, but that is not what is happening here. Trump's art of the deal follows another course change on Tuesday when asked if he would consider firing Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who he had called a, quote, major loser as recently as Monday. The president said this.
You have no intention of firing Jerome Powell. Do you have any plans on doing that?
None whatsoever. Never did. The press runs away with things. No, I have no intention of firing him. I would like to see him be a little more active in terms of his idea to lower interest rates. This is a perfect time to lower interest rates. If he doesn't, is it the end? No, it's not. But it would be good timing. It could have taken place earlier. But no, I have no intention to fire him.
Tim O'Brien is back with us and joining us. Caleb Silver, editor-in-chief of Investopedia. Mixed message salad, huh?
Yeah, kind of what we've been getting for the past several weeks, really for the past several months. And that's why you're seeing all this volatility in the stock market. These days of 1%, 2% swings, there's nothing normal about that. It's very unsettling for investors, very unsettling for businesses that are trying to make decisions here when you really don't know what's coming next.
So those are the markets, right? What do the markets tell us about where the economy more generally is headed?
Well, I think the markets in the short run are just a barometer of emotion. But in the long run, they're a barometer of corporate profits. And I think corporations across the U.S. landscape are concerned that they're going to be less profitable and ultimately have to lay off people and have fewer things to sell because of an unhinged tariff policy. And you know, only 20% of Americans own stocks directly. Around 60% own it through retirement plans. And the administration keeps saying, don't pay attention to the market grief. This isn't where real people live. But the reality is this will affect real people ultimately in terms of the cost of things they buy, the interest rates they pay on mortgages, the interest rates on their credit cards, the availability of food on store shelves. It will hit them. And Trump's aware of that, which is one of the reasons he's teeing Jerome Powell up. He is going to blame a recession on Jerome Powell.
Because Jerome Powell didn't listen to his advice.
Yes, and it had nothing to do with my tariff policies. Jerome Powell just wouldn't lower interest rates, and it's his fault. And then he's going on national television saying he didn't say exactly what he did say, which is that he wants to get rid of Jerome Powell.
Do you think that what he's trying to do, make Jerome Powell the fall guy?
Oh, I think potentially, but also lowering interest rates is going to be no help when we already have rising prices. Lower interest rates stimulates more buying. That stimulates more inflation. And the Fed chair knows that more inflation is coming our way. Why do that now when you could have a double dose of inflation? We just got through several years of it. So that's kind of why the Fed is in a bad place right now. And yeah, potentially looking for a fall guy here because that's sort of been the plan. That said, there is a law called the 1913 Federal Reserve Act that says you can't fire the Fed chair unless it's for cause. Maybe he's finally listening to that or listening to the bond market and this decline in the dollar. Those are things that should make us very concerned. The stock market gets all the attention. The decline in bond prices and dollars
explain
is not good.
That, because it sort of is a way of us evaluating whether or not people are buying into the United States.
It's about trust, right? Our 10-year Treasury is the most widely held, most trusted asset, or was, on planet Earth. And we need countries, big hedge funds, big institutions to keep buying it to fund our spending. And if they stop, well, there goes a lot of that revenue that helps us prop up our government right now. But it also has a lot to do with our mortgage rates, has a lot to do with our credit card rates. If we lose trust in the financial system and these really critical securities, then there goes everything. The stock market would be the least of our problems.
I want you to take a listen to the president earlier tonight. He was asked about the China tariff situation.
How soon do you want to bring the tariffs on Chinese goods?
Well, that depends on them. We're dealing with a lot of countries right now, and could be with China, but maybe we'll make a special, a deal, and we'll see what it will be. Right now, it's 145%. That's very high.
Were you worried about what the 145% tariffs were doing to small businesses here in the U.S.?
No.
Is that why you're bringing it down?
No. I haven't brought it down. I haven't brought it. Still 145. I haven't brought it down. I said it's a high tariff. It is a high tariff, but I haven't brought it down.
What do you think he's doing?
Well, I think he doesn't know what he's talking about, just at a profound level. I think he's performative. I don't think he's motivated by tariff policy or economic policies that necessarily are put the United States on a good long-term footing. What he is concerned about is whether or not he appears tough, whether or not he appears that he's winning. And I suspect within the White House, once they put out the message yesterday that they might lower tariffs on China, there was this news that, well, Trump is capitulating, Trump is willing to negotiate. He didn't like the sound of that, and he told Scott Bessent, go back out in front of a mic and say, actually, we're not capitulating. But none of that was motivated by sound management of public policy or sophisticated thinking about the economy. It's Trump managing his own reputation on an international stage because he's a performance artist.
Right.